All right, everyone, welcome back to the channel. Here I got a 1986 Honda XR80, and then this was a package deal, so I also have a 1974 Honda XR75. He said both of them haven't ran in years, so the night before I show up, or the evening before I should say, he sends me a text message saying, "Hey, I turned the fuel on to the XR80, kicked it over, and it fired right up." He said it wouldn't idle very good, but it would run. So when I got there, I checked, and yeah, it does run. So, and the gas is definitely old. I would say at least 2, 3 years. But the purpose to this video is just to go from rear tire to front tire, handlebars to foot pegs, just a complete detail job. I have a new seat cover. I got new decals for the plastics on the sides, the front, gas tank. I'm gonna repaint the muffler. I got a decent used tire for the rear. The front's actually in really good shape. I got to re-grease the neck bearings because they're a little stiff. But that's just the purpose of this video, just a really thorough cleaning. That's just all it takes. Just take some elbow grease to get these bikes looking nice, because I can't stand it when you see something online. I'm sure y'all have seen it too, where people will just do a crappy job of taping something off and spraying it, whatever it is. It could be the engine, and the engine gets overspray on the frame, vice versa. It's just pure laziness, in my opinion. And that's not what I do. I go from front to back, top to bottom, just full detail. If I got to replace the brake shoes, I'll replace the brake shoes, the wheel bearings as well. Like I said, the chain, all that stuff. Once I get to a specific spot, I'll see what I need and I'll order it and I'll replace the parts. I don't want to do the job twice. But that's it. Like I said, I'll take y'all. So I'm going to clean the plastics here. I use a Mr. Clean erasers with either spray away or simple green. Clean it really well, get all the dirt and stuff that's built up on it. And then I use this plastic little wax, Plastic X or whatever it's called, and I'll polish all the plastics. And if that doesn't work, then I'll do the heat gun or torch method and rejuvenate, I guess you would say, all this stuff. That's a big word, wow. At least for me. But that's it. Let's get started. Alrighty. I'm going to start by taking all the plastics off, and then after all the plastics are off, I'll focus on the rear just because it's already set on the stand this way. And I went ahead and already ordered, cannot talk today. I've already ordered bearings, brakes, and all that stuff just because I don't want to get into it and then have to redo it again. So if I can get to it. Oh, might have to use the whole manual. Go the right way. Come on now. These are not factory. These are little Phillips. I'm pretty sure they were all hex heads. So I'll see if I can't find some that'll work. That's the only thing holding that on. Nope, got two more underneath here. I guess these were actually holding the fender on, so I didn't even need to take those off. Huh. The more you know. Bought this for a reason. All right, now let's try to take it off. No? Still don't want to come off? Oh, all right. Huh. Got to take the side cover bolts off. As you can probably already tell, I've never worked on the XR80 before. It's usually, everything I've usually worked on is 70s and older. So I really didn't want that seat to come off. Yeah, these bolts are what I'm trying to get at right here. And once I get all this stuff off, the bolts that will thread back in, I'll put them back in their places. That way I don't lose them. And I know exactly where they go. Since obviously I don't know what I'm working on here. Okay, now the seat can come off. Well, maybe. Fender's off. Okay, slides in this little Phillips right here. That's something new. That's cool. Now if I can get to the fuel line, I guess the fuel petcock leaks. Tank. Oh, got those bolts. Front fender. Hopefully those are 10 as well. Nine of 85. Actually, it doesn't look that bad. So it's just really dirty. So that's the plan, is just to clean a little bit of this up. I'll probably go out there and power wash it again, because I already did that a little bit before bringing it in the shop because it was just covered in webs and stuff like that. But get a lot of this stuff off and try to protect the coil if I can. It's got a condenser. I actually wonder if this is CDI or this is points. 86, I'm not sure. I think it actually still may be points. Seeing that condenser there is making me think that it's points. But I'm curious about this air box. Let's try the bottom. Okay. Oh, that actually looks really good. So I'm pleased with that. But since I'm gonna wash it, put this back on. Looking at all this, it doesn't look like it's had a hard life, so that's a plus. Usually stuff's been, the neck and stuff like that's been bent up, and the actual engine guard, while it is loose, it's actually in really good shape. It's not dented or anything, which is a good sign of it having a rough life. So, all right, I'm gonna go wash this and I'll get back with y'all. Okay, I'm back. I had a little squirrel moment. Started taking one thing off and just snowballed. But I got the exhaust off. It's actually in really good shape, minus this piece here. So my plan is, I already bought a new one for this. Yeah, it does sound a lot better with it off, but I'm going to try to keep it as original as possible, and then I'll clean the rest of it up and just fog it with an exhaust paint. Airbox came off. It's kind of a chore to do, but after I power washed everything, pulled that stuff off because I wanted to protect the carburetor, now I'm going to have to block off the port to the carburetor and power wash some more stuff, some more grease in here by the swing arm, but I'll do that later. So next thing is going to be the rear wheel. I said I got a decent used one, so because this one, as you can see, the knobbies, they do tear off over time, but this one being on this side, I'm thinking maybe the chain, came loose and tore up some of these knobbies. I don't know, because the other side's missing some, but not as much. So it could just been the terrain they were riding on, or just because they're old and they do break off. So All right, let's get started on the rear. Well, it actually spins really nice, so that's a plus. Like I said, I'm not really worried about the bearings, but I'm like, I'm already going to be this far into it because I got to pull everything apart, and then I'm going to vapor blast the chrome. It actually polishes it up pretty nice as long as you don't hold it on a certain spot for too long, then it'll start to like frost it, I guess you would say. And then I'll just lightly go over the hubs, and that hopefully will get all that caked on dirt off. Little persuasion. Probably a good thing I went ahead and ordered brake shoes, or yeah, brake shoes, because this one, I mean, there's a little meat left, and this one about the same, but they're pretty much right at the edge. So it's not perfect, but it's close enough. Nope, ain't gonna work. All right, there we go. Jesus, man. No, there's nuts on the bottom. This might be a 14. Yep. Now I can probably, because I don't know if you can see that when I was actually starting to try to impact with that little Torx bit, it was pretty snug, but it started to want to spin, so I don't want that to happen. Because if you do that, then so this one that's supposed to go in there won't. So that's my fault. But it's loose enough now, not worried about it. Okay. Let's try to tap this one. There we go. That poor little Allen. It wasn't liking that. Look at this sprocket. It's actually in really good shape. It's not worn out. Unless they replaced it with another original Japanese gear. This might be the original one. And usually you can tell if they've had a hard life or a lot of miles on them, because the teeth will start to kind of go to the left, like the rotation of the tires start folding in and create really sharp points. The bearing kit that I did buy came with new seals, so that's a good thing. But you see, you can tell that, I mean, they're actually not in bad shape. They're the original ones. So, like I said, when I vapor blast this, I'll show y'all before I do. But what I do is I'll keep the original bearings and everything in, and I'll get some little rubber caps or whatever, put grease on it, and just, sandwich it down with grease on both sides. Take the wheel off, obviously, and then I'll vapor blast it. That way, if I do get any media in there, it's actually on the old bearings, not the new bearings. Then I'll hammer all those out, clean everything up, put the new bearings in, re-grease everything, and good to go. And I won't bore y'all with all that, but I will show y'all what I do when I grease these things to prep it for vapor blasting. Man, that was a pain in the butt. It took me 30 to 45 minutes. And after I got it off, I just threw it in the yard. I don't want to see it anymore. So, and then I'll throw it in the dumpster later. But what I do when I seal these up, so I just get a bag. I got a bag of just random little things, little caps or nipples, whatever you want to call them. I just have an assortment that I get off stuff. Some of these are from carburetors. When you get them, they have the ends plugged up, or the batteries, all kinds of stuff. So, and these two are somewhat the same size and they fit. So what I do is just get grease, dab the grease in there on the plug itself. All right. That way no media gets inside there when I'm blasting. It'll all collect on that grease. And I'll reuse these caps later, not in this video, but I reuse them all. So, and that's it. Like I said, I don't mind getting some inside here, clean some of that brake dust up. But the actual surface where the pads ride aren't actually in bad shape at all. And the tube is actually fairly new, but you can tell they didn't have little wheel band, which I don't either. So what I'm going to do is take all this stuff off, and I'll just use some electrical tape and wrap it around a few times, and then that'll be it for that. Turned out pretty decent after coming out of the vapor blasting cabinet. Got the bearings out. That was a little chore, but everything came out decent. And I'll actually still hit or polish the wheels with some steel wool because it didn't get a lot of things off. And like I said, if you hold it on there, then it can sometimes pepper or frost the chrome and it just doesn't look good. I guess you would say dull it. But I'm going to put the bearings in the freezer so they're a lot easier to go on. The old ones, actually, I said they weren't bad. Like I said, I leave them in there so I don't get any media inside here. So, and that's your spacer tube right there. So you'll put one bearing in, put this in, line it up, tap the other one in, and then you'll run your axle through and make sure that it's good and straight. And the sprocket turned out decent as well. So just scrubbed it with some, I didn't get that off there, but scrubbed it a little bit and then put it in the ultrasonic cleaner about 2 to 3 cycles and turned out good. So okay, I'm going to put everything back together, and next time y'all see this, they'll be back on the bike. Figured I'd show you this. See those 2 dots there? You have to line those up when you put new brake shoes on. And also that tab there, it's a wear mark, so if you start adjusting and it gets close to here, then you know you need to replace your brake shoes. But it turned out pretty decent, and the wheel turned out really nice. So I'm going to do a little touch sanding on the inside where the brake shoes connect, but I'm still waiting on those bearings to cool down. But that tire was a pain in the butt. So alrighty, rear's done. Went ahead and put the chain on. I had to cut a few links off, but actually looks really good. Next process is cleaning these plastics with this Plastix. I tried a few spots with the heat gun and it just wasn't doing well, and it kind of started warping the number plate on front, so I stopped that. But I don't know if you can pick it up on camera or not, but I did the front here. Yeah, there's still little lines in it, but not much compared to you go up here, you can see how chalky it is. So I'm going to do that to everything. I'm not going to bore y'all with that because it's going to take forever. I just wiped it down with spray away. Wasn't a lot of gunk. There was some in the bottom. As you can see, the petcock's off. It's leaking fuel. Trying to get all that old gas out. But you can kind of see where the decal was. So I'm going to take measurements and try to place it on this side and also on the other side in the same spot if I can. But all I'm going to do is just clean up the spray away. Then I'm going to use that polish. So I'm definitely not going to use the heat gun on the gas tank here. And then, where'd it go? There it is. The petcock I'm also going to clean up as well. It seems to work just fine. But I'll take the little filter off here, O-ring, put it in the ultrasonic cleaner, and then I'll vapor blast it. And hopefully it turns out pretty decent. So, like I said, I've had good luck with that combination, so I'm just going to stick with it till it doesn't work anymore. Carburetor's all cleaned up. It actually turned out pretty nice. There's some spots that the little blaster couldn't get, but overall I think it turned out pretty nice. And for the intake, I actually had to make a little gasket because the one that was on it when I pulled it off ripped, and I just used some gasket material. It ain't perfect, but the port matches up somewhat. I just use this gasket material I got from O'Reilly's. So, all right, let's put this back on the bike. A little before and after on the skid plate. Said it's not, there's one little dent there. Other than that, it's actually in really good shape, which makes me think it had an easy life. Well, it's a little bit better. It's not perfect. So what I'm going to do, it's not originally black, but I'm going to spray it with the same black that the exhaust is going to get painted with. I'm replacing this shifter seal, and I want to show y'all something. I don't know if you can see this right here, but when I was pressing it on, that lip is actually pushing out. So when you're replacing seals with the shaft still in, you want to make sure that this seal is uniform all the way around like it's supposed to. So that's why I use these little picks for. I get it right on here because these little steps here is what's causing it to push out. You want to be careful because you actually have a spring on the back side. Just like here's the old one. It looks like crap, but it's a little deformed. But this outside lip was actually all cracked, which is why it was leaking as bad as it was. But on the back side, I don't know if you can see it or not, there's a little spring that wraps around that sealing surface there, so you want to make sure that's still on there when you put all this stuff together. So I'm going to mess with that. Like I said, you just want to lightly go over it. So I don't know if you can see it or not. You just want to lightly go over it and push that seal back in. And then you can still move it around. So you want to make sure everything's uniform when you're moving it around, which it is now. Actually, now see how it's coming out right there? All right. Guess we're going to have lighting issues, but you can see how it's popped up right there. So you want to make sure all that's where it needs to be before you press it onto the case. Not in bad shape at all. Take the slack out of the cable so I can release it. Now hopefully I can get this thing off. There we go. Sure do hate when these things get all dirty because now it's gonna take forever to get this off. hopefully I can get that cleaned up in the wire wheel, and hopefully be easier to take on and off next time. But fronts are just as about as gone as the back, so it was definitely time. So this one doesn't have a wear indicator on it that I can tell, but you can see, yeah, there is some life. You probably could use these for a little bit, but you do a lot of hard riding, it's definitely going to not last. And that's a bummer. I just seen that. Look at that. It's broke. Huh. Wonder how that happened. No, it wasn't me. All right, moment of truth. This thing was on there. I mean, tight. Put some towels down to hopefully control the bouncing of these ball bearings. That's some old grease. Oh, gross. Ew. Oh yeah, that stuff is gooey. Very, very sticky. I'm hoping since it's so sticky that the bottoms won't fall out. But I was wrong. Okay. That's gonna be fun. Let me count how many were in here, and then I'll see how many I gotta find. 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7, 8, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21. Okay, so just like a Trail 70, 21. Where are y'all coming from? Back. All right, well, take all these up and see how much more I got to get. I know there's definitely some on the floor, but the thing with these is they're all the same size, and you can buy these at your Ace Hardware. So I got spares anyway, so I'm not too worried about it, but it is a pain in the butt. So I'll be finding these months from now. 4, 5, 6. Hold still. 13, 14. So I need to find 7. Yay. Get off me, fly. I'm busy. All right, 5 to go. Get away, fly. I want you. I want the ball bearings. They can't really roll too far because man, my fingers are sticking together. They can't roll far. I say that, but everything's cleaned up. So this little booger was on there tight. Man, that's the top race. What I do is I get all that cleaned up, put the grease on there, get those ball bearings on, and then I'll grease underneath, grease up top, put the ball bearings in, and to straighten the ball bearings up, I'll put this race face down how it's supposed to be, and that way it pushes all those ball bearings out, and then I count when I put them in, just make sure I got 21 on the bottom, 21 on top. I'll make sure you got everything in place. Sit this here, hopefully it don't fall, which it might. Grab the bottom here. You just want to go in slow. Wash the top. Push the top race down, make sure it's seated. Grab your little cover here. Like butter. I said these you don't want to get them tight because if you get them tight, like even just too tight, you can feel the ball bearings move. If you do this, you'll know exactly what I mean. You don't want that. You want to get there, Just slowly back it out where it's a fluid motion, just smooth back and forth. And if it's been sitting a while and they've been over torqued, luckily these races aren't bad. They're actually pretty good, but you torque them down like that for a while and you move it a lot, the races will actually have indentations where the ball bearings are and just completely destroy them, so you have to get new ones. That's not the case here. I got really lucky. Like I said, not going for showroom here, just going to be more gooder than it was. So, like I said, you want to make sure, double check. Just get it snug. That's a little too much. That's perfect. So it does not take a lot. Little shiny bits, I'll get some steel wool and just clean them up real quick. Actually got a nice day to where it's actually decent outside. It's been hot. Come out here for a few hours and that's about it. She ain't gonna win no competition, so that's not what I'm going for. Going for better than it was. Actually, I need to line that up before. Get my ratchet with the 10. And the forks were actually in really good shape. The fork seals, I mean. So, actually, I'm going to clean these up real quick. And I'll get back with y'all. All right, as I was saying, the forks are actually in really good shape. They're not bad at all. So, and I do have a seal kit for it to rebuild it, but since they're in good shape, I'm not going to mess with them. So, and then I get them flush. Come on. Like I said, if I need to rebuild these, it's actually really simple how to rebuild these. So it's not a big deal at all. That was stupid. Oh. Yep, still works. And that's what I get for using that on that, so it's my fault. And this actually, the nut on top was actually loose. Why am I messing with that? I got a socket for that somewhere. A little overkill never hurt nobody. And same with this, you just want to get it snug. Okay, make sure everything's good. That was stupid. I gotta take the forks back off because I ran the wires down so I can just hang them. I got lucky here. A lot of times these triple clamps, they're just rusted on there and you gotta beat the crap out of them to get them off. Luckily, that's not the case here. Okay, that's what I was trying to do, I think. I'm pretty sure how that's how that went. Oh, that's why. Okay. Now we're good. I was like, there ain't no way that's messed up. I had no luck finding those two extra ball bearings, but these, as far as I know, these smaller bikes, I don't know if it's in the 90s or not. I'm pretty sure they may have went to more like a tapered bearing. But this one and like your Z50s and Trail 70s, I even think the CT90s, they all have the same ball bearing size and the same count, as far as I know. And it's a 3 and 16 ball bearing. And you can get them at your local hardware store fairly cheap. I wasn't really worried about actually losing it. It just sucks because I will find it later. Could be a year from now. I don't know. All right, that's it. Need to clean the clutch. I need to clean the threads up on this. I need to clean the wheel, rebuild the brakes, and the next time y'all see me, I'll be putting it on the bike. Well, the front rim is on. I guess my phone didn't want to record that, but it actually turned out really well. The vapor blaster did a good job on the hub, and then there's some rust right here that I really couldn't get off. I tried to focus more on there when I was blasting it, but then I went over it with some steel wool, so it's a little bit better. And like I said, the exhaust came out great, but now it's the shiniest thing on the bike, which is kind of a bummer, but it is what it is. And then I got the air filter replaced. The original one wasn't bad at all, but I've already bought one, so I might as well replace it. And the plastics, they're not great. I'll show you. They, after doing two coats or two polishes, it got better, but because after I did the polish and got everything off and buffed it, it actually, you couldn't see those lines, but after sitting for a day, they came back. So I don't know if something absorbs it or what. So I'm not really great at polishing plastics. So, but like I said, everything turned out decent. And then, so, all right, let's get this stuff put back together. You can tell, like I said, the tank didn't come out. It's smooth, but it's just, did two coats or two rounds of polish on this and the plastics, and it just, I don't know why, it's just not coming off. I'm sure there's other methods I could actually probably sand it, but I'm not going to do that. So, well, only thing I have to do is add the decals and recover the seat, and then she'll be ready to go. Yep, she'll be ready to go after that. So I'm gonna do that another day. Right now, that's where I'm gonna stop. And I also got uh, an upper chain guard here and a lower chain guard down here. The bottom one's not really necessary, but I just figured it's missing it, so why not try it to make it a complete. So, and I got a power wash underneath there, underneath the engine, because that's the seal down here is leaking, so I replaced it. The engine guards, I painted it black, and it's not factory, but it'll blend in. So once I clean all that, I can put the engine guard back on and work on the seat, work on decals, and after that, she'll be ready to ride. So, seat covers off. I'm going to glue this back on. I've already added super glue right here. And then this part right here have these little sanding pads from, bought a little kit that goes on a drill and it just doesn't work. So I'm going to use this foam, glue it on there, and I'll sand it where it's pretty flush. I thought this was cool. It says the 80 in the foam. So, but that's what I'm going to do there. It's not perfect. but it's definitely better than it was. So now all I need to do is cover it, and hopefully that seat cover I bought that's supposed to be OEM style, hopefully it goes on just as easy as or just as well as this patch job went. So like I said, it's not perfect, but it'll get the job done. Well, she's done. She ain't perfect, so don't look too hard and laugh too hard, but said that ran out of super glue. I was going to add some foam right here because that little crack, but I did glue it together, and I said I ran out of super glue. So in this line, I think I should have left it in the sun longer than I did, but I was just trying to get it done. So that's my fault. This one actually turned out pretty decent. It's a little off, as you can tell, but I think it'll be just fine. And this one here, I had to keep with the faded part, so because I didn't want to have a shadow behind it. So that's why it's a little over to this side. And I got the engine guard on. The front's not bad. It's actually really good. It's kind of hard to mess up a flat panel, but give me time, I'll do it. Yeah, so this one turned out, it's a little more center, but like I said, it's just that this little X right here, that's what I was trying to keep with. And so in the shiny exhaust, so it turned out great. I really should have done a flat black, but I didn't have any. All I had was semi-gloss. So, and this one was the one that took me a while, and I still managed to screw it up just because this curve is just so hard. I was trying the heat gun and stretching it and shrinking it and all kinds of stuff. It just, I don't have a lot of experience with putting decals on these particular bikes. It's usually all the panels I do, like trail 70 stuff, it's pretty simple bends and stuff. So, and this right here does bug me a little bit. It's just the C itself, but it is centered, which is a plus. And the fender, I don't know if you can see it, but I'm going to try to heat that up and straighten it out later. But overall, I think it turned out pretty good. It's definitely better than it was. All right, everyone, that's it for the XR80. The purpose of this video was just to make it better than it was, and I think I did that. It's not perfect. It's not going to be perfect because I didn't want to fully restore the bike. But I will buy new decals for it, at least the backs here. I'm going to have a buddy of mine help me, and he'll show me what to do because he's actually more experienced when putting these decals on these hard curves here. And I'm not 100% sold on the exhaust yet. It's to me, it's just too shiny. But it may grow on me. If not, I may do like a satin or a flat just to kind of make it blend in better. But overall, I think it turned out really good considering what it looked like before. And the only thing left to do is to ride this thing. So I'm going to do a ride video at the end. If y'all want to stick around for that, great. If not, I want to thank y'all for watching, and I'll see y'all in the next video.
it. Kind of idling funny, so I'm gonna have to go through the carburetor again. But other than that, she rode great. She's not made for top speed, so I'm not going that fast. So let's keep riding. No problem. Alright, let's get off this hill for the cops come. Check junk piles. I don't know why. Alright, I want to thank y'all for watching, and I'll see y'all in the next video.